What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. The other day when I had my journal out, and I held it up and said, rip Lucky, and I had mentioned Lucky, and I don't think I did this story time. So now we're going to do story time today, and this is about Lucky. Lucky's name, his purebred name was Lord Barnaby Holmes, and this is actually a picture of Lucky right here. And when he was a puppy, he was very, very still much a pup. And that's at Colt State Park in Rhode Island, out on the water. And it's probably my favorite picture of him that I've ever had. And hey, Bruno. Bruno's sitting over here next to me. I'm filming a video and he came in. So before Bruno, there was Lucky. I had always been obsessed with English Bulldogs when I was a kid. I liked the British Bulldog as my favorite wrestler when I was a kid because he had two Bulldogs he walked to the ring. Bulldogs were kind of my thing. So when I was about 20 or 21 years old, I finally had credit cards that had a little bit of money on them. I decided I was going to buy an English Bulldog. And they're about $2,500 or $3,000. I forget what he was. Found a breeder out in Massachusetts, in Oxford, Massachusetts, called Laughlin Kennels. And I went out there, and I called there first. And they said, we got like one male left if you want to come by, but he probably won't be here long. I'm like, look, I'm on my way. I drove out to Oxford, Mass. And there was Lucky. He was a little guy. He was jumping around at there was two other English Bulldogs that were bigger, they were full grown. He was jumping around, and they put him down, and he came, like grunt, he comes over, like all grunting and stuff. I'd never seen a Bulldog puppy before. And I thought it was the coolest thing. He was muscular, he looked like a little fucking tank. Like his belly was dragging on the ground, but he had a little waist, and he was thick, and had traps in the neck. It's like, wow, it's so cool. And I looked at him, and it was love at first sight, hands down. I said, I'll take him, here's my fucking credit card. I'm leaving with him today. That's when I got him. So I brought him home, and you know what? Like, all the Bulldogs that, people own Bulldogs, and Bruno, he's got so much health issues, skin issues, eye issues, ear issues, and it's a breed that can have a lot of issues. Lucky had none of them. He had no eye issues, no ear issues, no infections. His weight, he was about a 55-pounder, which Bruno's over 70 pounds. So he's about 20 pounds heavier than Lucky was full grown. And Lucky came with me everywhere. I brought him to work with me when I used to work for Joe at Biogenics. I used to take him to family functions. We drive around together. We were always together all the time. Now, he was probably about 4 or 5. And backstory, this summer in Rhode Island was really, really hot, like really hot. And it gets muggy as fucking Rhode Island sometimes. Not as bad as it is here in D.C., but pretty bad. And me and my girlfriend Amy lived on the 3rd floor at my grandfather's house. My grandfather owns a tenement house. There's 3 floors to it. He lives in the middle one. There's one upstairs and there's one downstairs. So me and Amy lived upstairs on the 3rd floor. And during the summertime, it was so hot on that 3rd floor, you had to have the AC on. But at summertime in Rhode Island, sometimes the temperature drops and you can open the windows at night, and it's fine. Now, that morning that I got up, I had to go into work. I was working private police, and I think we had trainings all day, and then I had to work that night. Yeah, so what happened was I got up in the morning, and it was probably like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was going to be there from 8 to like 8 in the morning to like 10 at night at work. And before I left, Amy kind of woke up and said, hey, before you leave today, don't forget, because she was leaving at probably 11 or something in the morning. I said, before you leave, don't forget to put the AC on. It's going to be too hot in here. And she's like, yeah, okay, no problem. Well, I went to work. I was doing, I don't know if it was handcuffing class. I don't remember what we were doing. We did several classes and recertifications for like the OCAT, which is the oleum capsium spray, handcuffing class, I think the pain compliance class. There's a bunch of classes that we had to do recertifications. And about, 4 o'clock, I just had this fucking weird feeling. I was like, I don't remember if she was fully awake. I don't fucking know. So I call her at work, and she was working at a restaurant at the time as a bartender. I said, hey, did you turn the AC on? She's like, no, you said to turn the fan on. And I was like, oh my God. Now, meanwhile, it's like 110 fucking degrees out. Now, the 3rd floor must be 150 without a fucking AC. And Bulldogs, I don't know if you know or not, have bad respiratory systems. They can't usually breathe. Hot weather is not good for them. They develop this foam in their throat that's like shaving cream, and eventually chokes them, and they fucking die. They overheat very easily. They have to be, they're high maintenance. So I just immediately, I was like, fuck, I need to get, home, make sure that the dogs have food and water, turn that AC on. I'll bring them down to my grandfather's apartment while they cool off. So I bolt home, which is only about 15 minutes from Providence. And I get to the door, and I open the door, and now Nico Nico was our Brussels Griffin who passed away. He's the one that I have the tattoo on my arm for. He was like 15 or 16 when he passed away. He's jumping off the floor up to like my head level. He's like 7-pound dog. He's only like 6 inches off the ground. And I was like, he's fucking freaking out. Now, usually Lucky would meet me at the door. And I walked through the little living room area into the bedroom, and Lucky was facing the wall. And he was his face up against the wall, laying with his belly sprawled out, which is what bulldogs do to cool off. And it was under the window. So I walked up to him. I figured, oh, fuck, he's so hot. He's trying to cool himself off. He knows the window's there. He's under the window. And I was like, Lucky, and he didn't budge. So I walked over and I nudged him with my foot, and he didn't fucking move. So I picked him up, and he was just, I like, is he asleep? You know, in my head, I'm not accepting reality at this point. This was not my parents' dog. This was my first dog, whom was like a child to me, whom I raised, who was with me all the time, who I loved dearly, who loved me dearly, but most importantly, who depended on me to keep him safe. So I immediately remembered CPR for animals. You hold their mouths closed and you blow through their nose. So I tried to find his sternum, and I was trying to do CPR. I was trying to do rescue breathing. And I opened his mouth to do like a sweep in his mouth, and his gums were all blue and purple, and he was gone. He had been gone for a little bit, and it was too late. So I immediately just started crying. I just fell to my knees and started crying with him in my arms. And I remember, yelling for my grandfather because he was downstairs in his apartment. And I came down the stairs and I was holding Lucky, and I said, I kicked the door, like broke the door, like just broke pieces of the door to open it. And because I had Lucky in my arms, I just kicked it open. And I said, Grandpa, he's gone, and I'm just freaking out. And I called Amy. I called my mom and dad. No, maybe I didn't call my mom and dad. I think maybe I called Amy, and she just freaked out. And she drove home from the restaurant, and my aunt, who lived in the downstairs apartments, heard what was going on, and she called my parents. And my parents came from another part of Warren, and I had Lucky wrapped up in a blanket on the front steps with me. And I was just wailing. I remember wailing. Like, I didn't care if the neighbors saw. I didn't fucking care. It just hurt so bad that, not was he just gone, but he was depending on me, and I fucked up. It was my responsibility, regardless, to make sure that air conditioner was on. And Amy came home. My mom came. My aunt came. And they're, trying to console me. And my dad, who kind of logically says, well, we got to do something. We can't just sit here and do this. So he went and started digging a hole in the backyard, and then we buried him. And that was I don't know, 2004. And I kept waking up every day for about a week, and they gave me time off from work because Jim and Maureen Purcell, Jim was the director there at work, and his wife Maureen are huge animal fans, huge pet lovers. They gave me weeks paid vacation off. When I got back, they had cards and stuff staked to my locker, and they had my other friend had made a picture of me and Lucky together and said best friends on it. And every day for like a week or two, I woke up, I would get up and look for him and think it was a fucking bad dream, and pray it was a bad dream. And I would take Nico everywhere with me because he was so busted up about it. He was really, really, really fucked up about it too. It was his best friend, and I just remember thinking, like, what could have I done that's different? It just, I just wish I could go back and change that, because he was such a good dog, and he was my best friend. And I was so proud of him, like, to bring him around and people to see him and the way he interacted with people and everything. And about 2 weeks later, I just said, there's a huge hole missing from my life. Nico has a hole missing from his life. We got to do something about this. It's not right. So that's when I called the breeder, and that's where Bruno came in. So Bruno came from the same breeder that Lucky did. And, there's sometimes where I look back and, that hurt never goes away. It just sits there. I'm the type of person, I can't compartmentalize things and put it away. And it hurts, and I'll blame myself to the day that I die, and I'm okay with that. People, you can't blame yourself. You can move on. Fuck that. It was my responsibility. I fucked up. It wasn't Amy's responsibility to turn the AC on. I should have turned it on before I left and just left a note on there that said leave it on. Hindsight, you learn. But that's Lucky's story. I miss him immensely. And You know, he was very special, and he'll always be that first dog that I ever got that was mine, and taught me basically that you can love something so unconditionally, and when it's gone, you can't replace it. Like Bruno doesn't replace him, Nico doesn't replace him, girlfriends don't replace him. Nothing replaces that loved one when they're lost. Bios3training@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.bios3training.com is the blogging where. Here's to you, Lucky, the bicep, and we're out.
ExtremeLiving.biz would like to announce that we are bringing Jerry Ward of Bios3 Training and Jason English of Big J's Extreme Fitness to our booth at the 2014 Blue Ridge Fitness Festival, where Mark the Machine Lowbliner will hold the ANBF Natural Bodybuilding Show. More information can be found at ExtremeLiving.biz. See you there.